So in this segment, we're going to be discussing Rishi Sunak being in investigation by the standards watchdog over failure to declare, over potential failure to declare an interest in a certain company that he may potentially benefit from, or his wife would benefit from. So we'll watch the Sky News clip, and then we'll go on to more detail.
Parliament's standards watchdog has opened an investigation into Rishi Sunak over a possible failure to declare an interest. This was launched on the 13th of April, apparently, so launched at the end of last week, but we're just finding out about it now. We don't have any more information about what this declaration of interest is. Of course, anybody in Parliament, if they have any links, any affiliations to companies or particular things that they invest in, they have to declare interests as MPs. Rishi Sunak has said that he seeks to be very open about his finances. He is independently very wealthy, as is his family, his wife is.
And I think that's where he runs into trouble, because his wife has shares in multiple different companies, and so it does create a conflict of interest when the government starts funding or subsidising certain companies. And you just like, did you pick that company because it was a good choice, or did you pick it because it would make certain people more money?
But he published his tax return not very long ago, as did, of course, the Labour leader Sir Keir Starmer. So one would imagine that Rishi Sunak is very...
He published his UK tax returns, as far as I'm aware. He didn't publish anything in the US, which I believe he has holdings in. So that's a bit of a disingenuous one there, I think, from Sky.
Very much fought all of his campaigns so far on transparency and openness. But the UK Parliamentary Standards Commissioner has nevertheless opened an investigation last week on April the 13th over a declaration of an interest.
So, they announced it last Friday. It's a bit weird because it would start the news cycle on the Monday, plus the fact that we have local elections going on. So it's an odd time to announce it, but it's probably because they found out about it because the government scheme is very recent. It was only announced recently during the last budget, so I don't think there's anything political going on here per se. But last month, Sunak faced questions over shares his wife, Akshata Murthy, holds in Koru Kids. So Miss Murthy was listed as a shareholder in one of those agencies, Koru Kids, as recently as the 6th of March. And Koru Kids is one of the ones getting the funding. So it's a bit suspicious. Let's be honest, and we don't know if this company. I'm not familiar with their game. I don't know if they were picked on merit or were they picked for other reasons. I don't want to speculate too much, but it does create the perception of a conflict of interest, and that's the most important thing here. The perception. It doesn't matter if it's true or not. It's all perception, and so it looks very dodgy when your wife has shares in a company, and then that company turns out to be one of the ones that are going to get receive funds from the government, especially when you're looking at some of the money that's being offered to staff. Is that money coming from the company, or is that money coming from the government? It looks like it's coming from the government. £600 for childminders who sign up to the profession, rising to £1,200 for those who join through an agency. So, why agency staff get paid more is a bit weird, considering you get less rights if you go via agency. But a rough week for Rishi Sunak with this stuff kicking off the week, and then you find out Sunak could be in more trouble as maths announcement may have broken election rules. So there's something called PERDA in the UK where you're not meant to announce certain policies, or you're not really meant to announce policies before an election, and we are 2 weeks away from a local election. So it's clear that ministers are meant to steer clear of publicising new policies in the run-up to an election to stop civil service being used to promote materials that could boost the governing party's chances. So different countries have different rules on stuff you can and can't do before an election. I think Americans have the Hatch Act as well, which I think James Comey fell foul of during the 2016 election. But rough week for Sunak here. He's gotten hit with a double. So potentially he's broken PERDA rules, which I don't think this is a major, it's a misdemeanor if anything. But the one into his failure to declare interest, that one's a bit dodgy because everyone knows he's very wealthy. His wife is very wealthy, and the fact that he was fined for breaking the COVID rules, whether that was his fault or not, him being kind of mired in kind of crime and allegations of misbehaviour, especially when he keeps running on this idea of integrity, is not a good look, because you can't be the man of integrity and honesty and transparency when you got fined for breaching lockdown, and it's alleged that you're not being very transparent with your money. But anyways, I'm going to leave it there. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Like, comment, share, subscribe, support the channel on Patreon if you can, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one.